السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. ربنا زدنا علما. اللهم فقهنا في الدين. اللهم إني أسألك علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وأملا متقبلا. آمين يا رب العالمين. So here I welcome you to session number 2, day number 2 for Quranic Arabic Grammar 10-day grammar intensive, and today we are going to learn something called Sifa. So let's start from where you all started in kindergarten. You all must have learned there's a fragment called Al-Mawsuf was Sifa. Al-Mawsuf was Sifa is a fragment in which you will find two isms, right? It is a fragment between two isms where two isms will match in all four properties. Everyone is with me so far, I hope. So everyone knows about Mawsuf was Sifa, that there are two isms that will come together and will match each other in all four properties. So Fawzun, Mubinun, both singular, common, masculine, rough in status. As-samawatil ula, so both plural, both proper, both feminine, and they can be nasburjar, right? Because the nature of as-samawat is such that it can be nasburjar, and ula is also, it can be nasburjar. Whatever the status of as-samawat is, al-ula is going to follow it, right? So this is how you have learned al-mawsuf was-sifa. So what is the job of al-mawsuf was-sifa? What does this fragment do? This fragment, you must have covered, describes someone. It is a fragment in which the second word that you have covered is an adjective, and it describes the first word. Unlike in English, where you have your adjective first and then the word that you are describing, like good girl, pretty woman, intelligent boy. In here, in Arabic, things are the other way around, right? You notice that your mawsuf has come first. The word that is to be described comes first, and then comes the description afterwards. So far everyone has seen fawzum mubinun as-samawatil ula in Quran, right? When it comes to al-mawsuf wa sifa, there can be two types of isms. There can be two types of isms that can be used as sifa. Okay, sifa. When you start for a simple mawsuf and sifa, you can use two types of isms. Okay, it can be al-ismul mufrad. Al-ismul mufrad, which means a singular ism, and which can, it's just one ism, which can be common and it can be proper. It is going to be common if it is describing a word which is common. It is going to be proper if it is describing something that is proper. In case of a word, it can also, there's another option that sometimes if a word is proper, you can use, if a word is proper, what can you use to describe it? If a word is proper, sometimes we can use connecting nouns, which are al asmaul mawsula. We have covered them yesterday. Sometimes you can find them describing a proper word. Is this clear to all of you? For example, in here, fattakun nar allati, can we call it description for annar? Can you call it a description for annar? Absolutely yes, right? Everyone is able to understand that these two words are both proper, both feminine, both singular. And if nasb works for nar, if nar is showing you its status with the presence of a fatha, I can say that allati is also nasb in status, because this is how it's going to work for me, right? So I can describe my word either by using any proper word, like in Al Asmaul Husna. I use a proper word to describe Al Asma, but in case of a properism, we also have an opportunity to use our connecting nouns that connect whatever is before them to whatever is after them, as you have covered yesterday. So annar in here is being described as the one whose fuel is people and stones. Is that sound right? Is it giving you the description for annar, right? Everyone got it? That annar can be described by using allati, and then you have a whole sentence after allati, which is bringing in lot of information, right? Lot of information, right? If it was a nar al kubra, it is only one word. But when you brought in a connecting noun, there's a whole lot more detail to it. Did you notice how your ism mausul is helping here, this word, right? Everyone with me so far and unable to understand that allati is going to be the sifa, and the chunk which is following allati is its baby called silatul mausul, and going to remain in the same bucket as ism mausul, right? The sila and ism mausul go hand in hand because they are mother and a nursing baby. They have to be together. They have to be together. Just think about a kangaroo in Australia, like they are also going to be instinct, God forbid, but yeah. So something like that. Okay, then you will see your mosuf sometimes can be a little more complicated. Like, it can be in a form of a mudaf. For example, ayatina al kubra, the greatest. Ayatina. Yes, you are going to say allati is a sifa. When you write in here, this question is that is allati only the sifa? You are going to label, my dear, allati as sifa, and you are going to label the sentence coming after it as silatul mausul, and then you will start to label different parts of silatul mausul where wakudu ha is going to be mubtada, wakudu is going to be mubtada, ha is going to be its mudaf ilayhi, and annas is khabar. And then I hope after yesterday's lecture and me sharing the slides with you, everyone is able to identify how to label something that is connected through murakkabi atf. The first word of this fragment is matuf alayhi. So look at the spellings very carefully. Matuf alayhi is the first word, which is a nas, waw harf atf, and then comes al hijaratu, which becomes matuf. Everyone got it? Everyone got it? Okay, now let's continue with Mausufa Sifa because it's a grammar marathon in which we are running and we have to run fast to achieve the goal. So sometimes your Mausuf can also be a mudaf, something like Ayatina. So Ayatina al-Kubra, the greatest signs, our greatest signs. So do you think this Ayatina is being described by al-Kubra? These ayat are being described by Al Kubra, matching in all four properties. So ayat, plural, feminine, right? Nasbur jar, right? Proper. What made ayati proper? What made it proper? Everyone should answer. There is an idafa. There is a na attached to it. If there is a mudaf ilayhi, which is proper, the na, if it is proper, it is going to make its mudaf proper as well, right? So all four properties we have covered now. So ayati is plural, feminine, proper, and nasburjar. When you look at al-kubra, can I call it nasburjar? Can I call it? Because it is going to work for ayati. So can I make it like, it is nasbur jar? Is it proper? And it is proper because of al, right? It is proper because of al. And it is feminine because of this alif at the end. What made it feminine? The alif at the end, it is a sign feminine. It is a sign feminine. And the sign of feminine in here is this alif that is there at the end. And alif maksura, alif tanisul maksura, and I'm not going to use those heavy terms. Yes, and it is muannas qiyasi. Qiyasi means that you can look at the word and it has a sign there, which is a giveaway that this word is a feminine word. So this alif is a giveaway for a feminine word. So I'm going to call it sign feminine, and the Arabic for sign feminine is muannas qiyasi. But we are not doing feminine, we are doing mosuf sifas. Let's stick to the topic. Did you notice how the four properties are matching? Then ibadi ka solihin. Again, ibadi ka, your slaves. As-solihina, your righteous slaves. So is your slaves being described by the righteous? What do you think? Can I call that ibad in here, the slaves in here, is being described by a solihina? So ibadi is jar in status. So a solihina in here is going to be considered jar in status, right? And the sign of jar in here is Ya, the ya letter ya is going to be the sign of jar. And this word, ibadi, is proper because of a pronoun. Your slave. So whenever mudaf ilayhi is proper, it's going to make mudaf proper. As-salihin is proper because of an al, alif lam, lamu tarif. And, both proper, both plural. One is, this ibadi is broken plural. As-salihina is a sound plural. So all four properties are matching. They are going to be mawsuf wa sifa, and sometimes your mawsuf can be mudaf. I hope everyone is with me. Sometimes your sifa can be a mudaf. So Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Rabbil Alameen. So what type of a sifa? Here, Lafzul Jalala is being described by Rabbil Alameen. So what type of a sifa do you have? Is your sifa not a mudaf? Rab? Is Rab word mudaf? Yes or no? What do you think? Yes, you all agree that this Rabbil Alamina is describing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He is the Lord of the worlds, all the worlds out there that you have seen with your eyes or not seen with the eyes. He is Rabb of each and every alam out there, right? And then comes Maliki Yomiddin. Maliki, sovereign of the day of the judgment. So this Malik is again proper because Adin made Yom proper and Yom made Malik proper. Is it also describing Lafzul Jalala? Allah? It is another sifa. So your sifa sometimes can be a mudaf as well. How many of you know this and are with me? Type 1 if you are. Everyone got it? Okay, this one it was easy one then, that means. So when it comes to when it comes to the types of sifa, which is very important topic that we are covering today, and this is now going to be get little advanced. So in here, what you will have, your adjective can be a single adjective or singular, ismul mufrad, al ismul mufrad, right? You're in the examples before, madudat, al husna, allati. Basically, if you look at it, is one ism which is describing an-nar. And then, yes, it has a sila which is following it. But technically, you matched the four properties, isn't it? You matched the two words matched in all four properties. In here, ayat matched in all four properties with al-kubra. In here, ibad matched in all four properties with as-salihina. The last case, Lafzul Jalala matched in all four properties with Rab and with Malik, right? So, but now what you can see is after that, there can be a whole sentence. There can be a complete sentence which can describe an ism. There can be an adjective, there can be a adjective clause. There can be an adjective clause that can explain a mawsuf. Okay, so we'll see what that means. Okay, so there are three types. How many types are there of sifa? Is there one type, two types, three types? There are three types of sifa. There are three types of sifa. Okay, so the first one is al ismul mufrad. Second is you can call it a shubu jumla. It can be a shubu jumla, and the third type is a jumla itself. Everyone got it? Al ismul mufrad, something like jannatani, zawata, zawata, and jannatani are making a mawsuf sifa and matching in all four properties. Zawata afnanin. An-nahlu zatul akmam. An-nahl is an ism being described by zatul akmam, isn't it? Al-habbu zul asf. Al-habbu being described by zul asf. So it is basically zu is describing al-hab. Al-nahl is being described by zatu, and then al-akmami is the mudaf ilayhi, and this is how the function, it's doing its function. The easy examples of these are al-ismul mufrad is fawzu mubin, as-samawatil ula, ayyamum ma'adudat, al-asmaul husna. Everyone got it? That you can put all these four under which category? Al-ismul mufrad. Al-ismul mufrad. Al-ismul mufrad. Then comes a fragment which is going to describe your ism. Then comes a fragment which is going to describe your ism. Then comes a sentence which is going to describe an ism, right? For number 2 and number 3. For number 2 and number 3, there is a condition. For number 2 and number 3, there is a condition. When you were describing al ismul mufrad, the ism can be common, ism can be proper, right? You can have common ism, you can have proper ism, right? Jannatan is being described by Zawata Afnan. Um, then Foes described by Mubin. As-Samawat, which is a proper ism, described by Al-Ula, right? But when it comes to this one and this one, Shibul Jumla and Jumla, there is a condition. Do you know the condition? For them to describe a Mawsuf, Mawsuf be must be common. Okay? They are only going to describe an ism that is common. Type 1 if you are with me. For example, here you can see خلق الإنسان من صلصال كالفخار كالفخار. Salsalin, common ism, being described by jar wal majrul kal faqari, right? Marriage, minan nar. Again, marriage is common ism being described by minan nar. Vardatan, vardatan kaddahan. Common ism being described by jar wal majrur. Common is nakira. Yes, a nakira ism, the ism it must be common. Mausuf must be common for number 2 and number 3. For number 2 and number 3, Mausuf must be common. How many of you are with me so far? Everyone? Okay. If you are not, let's just practice more. Okay. So you will see jar wal majroor and idafa coming up as sifa, and there are very many examples of that. In here, you can see jar wal majroor, how it works. So because it can be confusing for some, so let's start. So if I say a boy from USA, is from USA describing a boy? What do you think? Can this from USA be a description from a boy? A book from Allah? Kitabum min Allahi? Is it min Allahi or from Allah describing a book? Mangoes from Pakistan? Is from Pakistan describing mangoes? That these are mangoes, not from what's it called? Not from this. There's a close Mexico. Not from Mexico. They are from Pakistan. Okay, right? So mangoes from Pakistan. So in here, you will see zikrun, zikrun, a common ism. Zikrun, zikrun, common ism. Mir rabbikum, mir rabbikum, mir rabbikum. Can it be a description for zikrun? A reminder from your Lord, from your Rabb, from your Rabb. A reminder from your Rabb, right? Can it be the description for zikr, right? Rajulum minkum, a man from you all. A man from you all. Can it be a description? What do you think? Everyone got it? Everyone with me so far? Hmm? Let me just erase this one. Okay, this one was placed mistakenly. So far, commonism followed by jar wal majroor. Can they make a mausuf sifa? What do you think? Is there any condition for type? When it comes to type or definitiveness, is there any condition for al ismul mufrad? Does it have to be proper? Does it have to be common? What do you think? It can be common and proper, right? Al ismul mufrad can be common, can be proper, both. But when it comes to jar wal majroor, which can be called shibul jumla, or jar, when it comes to jar wal majroor, a fragment describing a common, a fragment describing an ism, jar wal majroor, for jar wal majroor to describe an ism must be common, must be common. For 3, al jumla, ism must be common, ism must be common. Everyone keep that in mind, inshallah. Okay. Let's see here. So sometimes you will have jar wal majroor describing a common ism. Okay. Sometimes you can also have something like that. Jaludan ghayraha. Can I call them mawsuf wa sifa? Skin other than it. Can it be labeled as mawsuf sifa? So now I see one answer. Sister Rabia is saying that no. So okay, let's see here. Jaludan, common? Yes or no? It is common. Ghairaha is a fragment other than it. Is it common? It is not common because ha is there. Okay, right? Ha is there, but jaludan is plural for jild, which is skin. Other than it, this ha is going back to jaludan. Jalud, it is going back to jaludan, right? And this can be, suffice because this is going back to jaludan. Other than a skin, other than it is going back to jaludan. So there are things there. Ghaira is both, they are both nasb, right? Ghaira is nasb, both, because it is the jaludan was broken plural, but ha is going back to that broken plural in here. But in here, when what you need to know is in here the type does not have to match. The type in here does not have to match because though it is ghaira ha, there is a ha attached to ghaira, but this is very vague, other than it. Skin other than it. Skin other than it. Does it make sense? Other than it, do you know what type of skin they are going to be replaced with? Is it giving you a specific type of a skin? Because this is, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, their skins will be burnt and it will be replaced with the skin other than it. Is it the other type of skin very specific, or it's also very vague? It's vague, right? Other than it is a vague way of saying things. So you will still say that this ghaira is a sifa for juludan. They are still going to be treated as mosuf wa sifa because ghaira Ghaira is some making it very vague. It is making it very vague. So it is a special case where you are still going to call ghaira a sifa for jaludan. Is this clear to all of you? Type 1 if it is. Okay. Add, now see here. There is another example. قولا غير الذي قيل لهم. Can anyone translate this chunk for me? Qaul, word, other than that which was said to them. Other than that which was said to them. So in here, قولا غير الذي غير, can it be the sifa for قولا? Yes, you have to. Yeah. You are going to, how you label stuff is, you can call it mawsuf wa sifa. So there's a question. So we can there's a question here that we can call this whole chunk as mawsuf sifa for jaludan. How you treat it is, let me tell you. Jaludan mawsuf, ghaira is going to be sifa, ha is going to be mudaf ilayhi. When you are going to write it down in your words, in your i'rab, when you are putting labeling for each and every word, once you have called ha the mudaf ilayhi for ghaira, it is understood it's going to go together and it is going to be the part of description for jaludan. You are just going to write mudaf ilayhi there. For ghaira, you can write sifa plus mudaf. Okay? Does that answer your question, sister? Okay. In here, qawlan ghaira, the same thing you are going to do. Qawlan ghaira. You are going to say call qawlan mawsuf ghaira sifa. And allazi is going to be labeled as mudaf ilayhi. Ghaira is also mudaf, and they are going to because they are inseparable, right? Mudaf and mudaf ilayhi are inseparable from each other. And then allazi is going to be your ism mawsul, and after every ism mawsul, what comes? Ism mawsul is always followed by sila. It's always followed by sila, and its sila is qila lahum. qila lahum, which is, what type of sila do you have today? Your sila is jumla failure, right? Your sila is jumla failure and fail madin, right? And lahum is going to be muta'alliq bil fail, because it is a jar wal majroor. Jar wal majroor in jumla failure becomes muta'alliq bil fail. Okay. Okay, now, so you will see special mudafs can occur as sila, and those special mudafs that can that can come up as sila, and you are going to see very many examples of that are ghaira, zu, misla. You will find them, and zu can have two other forms as well. In the it can be found as za, it can be found as z. In all nasb jar form, you can find zu, za, zi as as a sifa. You can find ghaira as a sifa. You can find misla as a sifa. Yes, in here, as Sister Diba is saying, you will notice that this ha is going back to juludan, right? And in here, allazi qila lahum is going back to qawlan. You notice here? This allazi, what is it going back to? Other than what was said to them, qawlan. So, no, no, no. This is not going back to that one. In allazi, it is not going back to qawlan. It is, they change, no, no. It is going back to qawlan. Yeah, it is going back to qawlan. What does misla means? Like. Misla means same or like. Okay. Misla means like that or same. Okay. Yes. So now you have seen that these words can come up as your sifa. So let's see few examples of them. Wadun, wadun, ghayru, makzubin. Wadun, ghayru, makzubin. This can wadun be connected to ghayru? Can you connect these two together? Absolutely, yes, right? You can connect them together. So wadun, both in here, they are matching in all four properties, right? Both singular, masculine, common, rough in status. There is no problem in here, right? There is no issue of mismatch type, right? Both are common, both are singular, masculine, and rough in status, right? When you see here, ata'an ghaira majzuz. So in here, ata'an is being described by ghaira majzuzin, and there is these both words are matching in all four properties, right? Both singular, masculine, common, nasb in status, right? Now let's see another one. Wajhu rabbik. Wajhu rabbik. They are connected to each other. How are you going to connect wajh with rabbi? How are they connected? Idafa, very good job. Rabbika, another idafa, right? And then comes Zul Jalali. Can you connect Rabbi with Zul Jalali, or how will you connect this part with the next part? Zul Jalali, what is it describing? Is it describing Rabbi or is it describing Wajh? I need to know my mausoof here. Jamila is saying that this is describing Wajhu. So, my dear students, Jamila is right, and so are some of you. Because wajhu, see here, zu is rough in status. It is not describing rub. It is describing the wajh of your rub, because wajh, the face of your rub, is rough in status, and zu is matching in wajhu in all four properties. They must match, right? Wajhu is proper because of mudaf ilayhi ka, right? So ka made rub proper and rub made wajhu proper. It's not any face, it is the face of your rub. Zu is proper because of al jalali, right? Zu is rough in status, wajhu is rough in status, both masculine, both singular, right? And how will you connect al ikram with whatever has been mentioned before? Which fragment connects al ikrami with the rest of the before what has been mentioned? It is matuf. Very good job. Very good job. So I hope you have gotten some idea of how fragments are going to work in your Mosuf and Sifa, as Mosuf and Sifa, how these things work. If everyone is with me, type 1. Because we need to shift gears somewhat, we have covered that our jar wal majroor can be a sifa and can fall in category number 2. For jar wal majroor to describe a noun, the noun must have one condition met. And what is that one condition? It must be among the four properties, it must have one property, which is it must be common. If it is not common, forget about it. If it is not nakira, it cannot be mausoof for jar wal majroor. Remember, for a fragment jar wal majroor to describe a noun, noun must be common. Okay? Now comes the last case where your sentence is going to be coming up as a sifa. Okay? So a common in ism, again the condition for a naat, which is or a sifa or description, which is going to be a sentence, the condition for number three was what? For number three, what is the condition? Ism must be common. Everyone, right? Ism must be common. So the ism which is common can be defined by a sentence, and the sentence which is going to define this commonism can be jumla ismiya, can be jumla fi'liya. Okay? Ism must be common, right? It must be common, and what is going to come describe that ism is going to be, can be jumla ismiya, can be jumla fi'liya. Okay? There is another condition in here for things to work. The sentence which is describing an ism, a common ism, will have a pronoun that goes back to commonism. Is this clear to each and every one of you? That ism is going, the sentence which is going to describe an ism, a common ism, will have a pronoun that will go back to the ism. Okay? So sentence should have a pronoun that goes back to an ism. So example, a day in which there is no trade. In here, in a day in which there is no trade, a man who sleeps, a man, he sleeps, a man who sleeps, a whole sentence. Here this a sentence, in English it does not appear to be a sentence, but in Arabic you will find it as a sentence. For example, let me show you. Yawman turja'una fihi ilallah. Yawman, is it a commonism? Everyone, should I start to think about it? That can it be my mausoof? Does it fill the bid for my mausoof? Right? It is. It does. Right? There is a sentence following it. Turja'una, you all will be returned. Fihi, in it, ilallahi, to Allah. This he, what is it referring to? It is referring, it is going back to ism yawman. It is going back to yawman. So can I describe this? Can I call this sentence as sifa for word yawman? Can it be description for that? A day in which you all will be returned to Allah. Everyone got it? Yawmun la bayun fihi wala khullatun wala shafa'ah. A day in which there is no trade, La bay'un fihi, there is no trade in it, and no friendship, wala khullatun, wala shafa'atun, and no intercession. In here, do you find a pronoun which is going back to yom and can meet all the, all the requirements what are needed for a sentence to describe, a commonism? Yom was common, followed by a sentence. जुमला इस्मिया ला was नाफिया bayun मुब्तदा फीही जार वल मजरूर मुतअल्लिक bil खबर. So you have he in here which is going back to yawm. In here, that is fitting the bill for a sentence to be a sifa for a commonism, right? So it it is going back to yawm, so we can call this structure as a sifa for word yawm. Another one, yawman la tajzi nafsun an nafsin shay'a, a day in which a soul will not benefit a soul. So in here, you do not have tajzi, is here tajzi, nafsun is the outside doer, and nafsin jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil, shay'a is can be called your mafulun bihi. And in here, you do not have any pronoun, but still, do you have any pronoun which is going back to yom? Do you have any pronoun in here which is going back to yom? But the context is enough for you to understand that this is one of the very few exceptions. This is one of the very few exceptions. Okay, so Tajzi is for nafs, right? Yom is masculine. La tajzi, as not benefit a soul. A soul will not benefit another soul anything, right? So there is no pronoun, but still the context is telling you that this is, describing word yom. So this is one of the exceptions where you do not have a pronoun, but for the most part you will find a pronoun. Another example, alahum arjulun yamshuna biha. Arjulun means feet. Do they have feet? Yamshuna means they walk biha with them. So yamshuna biha jumla felia, right? It is a jumla felia. Yamshuna, hum yamshuna. There is vow which is telling you that this is hum yamshuna. They walk biha with them. This ha is going back to what? Arjulun is a broken plural for feet. Is a broken plural for feet. So ha is going back to arjulun. So this commonism is being described by this jumlatul felia. Aidin yabtishuna biha. Hands they grab with them. With hands with which they grab. So in here, yabtishuna, fail mudare, واو is a doer. بها جار والمجرور متعلق بالفعل. جار والمجرور becomes متعلق بالفعل in جملة فعلية, right? We have a fail and then file is they, and biha is going to be jar wal majroor, and this ha is going back to aidin, and we can call this mawsufa sifa. So if I ask you what will be the status of yamshuna biha, can anyone give me the status for yamshuna biha? Now that I'm going to treat it as a sifa, Mawsuf must match sifa in status. When a sentence is coming as a sifa, it must match Mawsuf in status, so it is rough in status. Aidin is Aidin in rough and jar form. So if it is Aidin in rough form and jar form, I'm going to say that this is marfu, and yaptishuna biha is is rough in status as well, is rough in status. Ayuni yubsirun, eyes they see with them. So again, can it be sifa for ayunun, the broken plural for eyes? They see with them, right? So ha is going back to ayunun, and this is going to be the sifa for ayunun, right? Another one, azanun yasma'una biha. Ears, they hear with them. Again, azan, commonism, followed by jumla felia. In jumla felia, you found a pronoun that went back to azan, and this is going to be sifa for azan, right? Everyone got it? The ha is going back to azan. So in here, how many of you are with me so far? You are all aware that yawman followed by turja'una fihi ilallahi, the status of this sentence, what is the status of the sentence? Turja'una fihi ilallah. It is nasbin status. Yawmul la bay'un fihi wala khullatun wala shafa'a. What is the status of la bay'un fihi? What is the status of la bayun fihi after yawmun? It is rough, because yawmun is yawmun, and it is rough in status. So sentence is going to be fi mahalli raf'in. When a sentence comes up as, when you have to give a status to a sentence, you can add this term fi mahalli, which means in place of rough, right? You can add fi mahalli raf'in. Yes, because Zuvia, it is turja'una fihi ilallahi. It's going to be nasb because Yoman was nasb in status. Everyone with me so far? So, in nutshell, before we go and do more practice, I want you to do, I want you to cover this with me. Identify a commonism. Look carefully at a fragment after it. Look if there is a sentence after it. Sentence must have a pronoun that goes back to commonism. The pronoun that goes back to commonism is going to be called ayid, the name for that pronoun. So in here, what is going to be ayid? The pronoun that goes back to commonism is called ayid. The ha is in here. Yabatishuna biha. What is ayid in here? Ha there. Then yubsiruna biha. Ha in there is ayid. Labayun fihi. What is ayat in there, which is going back to yom? the he in there. يومًا ترجعون فيه إلى الله. Again, the he in a sentence is going back to yom. So it is the pronoun which is going back, that returns to commonism is going to be called ayat. Okay? And this was the same term that we were using for a pronoun that returns to ism mausul, right? Any pronoun that goes back to an ism is called ayat. Okay? Ayat literally means one that returns, that goes back. Okay? So, in translation, when you're translating, you add terms like who, which, whose, that kind of terms you will see in English. Okay. So, a day in which there is no trade, no friendship, no intercession. A day in which you will be on which you will be returned to Allah. Feet with which you walk, or hands with which you eat, eyes with which you see, ears with which you hear. A day in which there is no a soul will not be able to benefit another soul, though the pronoun is missing, but still, you may find it in translation. Everyone got it? So how many types of mawsuf sifa can we see? What are the three different types of sifas? There are three different types of sifat, right? Sifa can be al ismul mufrad, it can be a shibul jumla, it can be a jumla. Okay? For these two to work, there is a condition. What was the condition for shibul jumla and al jumla? There is one condition which will apply to both of them. For both of them, ism must be common. Nakira, nakira, common, common, the same thing. Nakira is the Arabic term used for common. In the sentence, when sentence is coming up as a sifa, you will find a pronoun that will go back to commonism in 98% of cases. You will find an ayid in 90% of cases that will go back to commonism. For example, in here, ainani, how many springs are mentioned? Ainani tajriyani. Two. And what helped you determine that there are two springs that are being talked about here? Alif, very good job. Then comes tajriyani. Translate tajriyani. Tajriyani means to flow. This fail means to flow. So now translate tajriyani. How will you translate it? Translate tajriyani for me. Can anyone translate that? To flow. They to flow, right? To spring. And now when you have to connect these together, we will in a minute I will tell you how will you connect these two together. Two springs that flow, but when you translate it by itself, they too flow is a translation. So what is two coming from in fail tajriyani? What is in there which is telling you that this is referring to the flowing of two springs? There is an aliful isnain or alif there, which is telling you, alif is there, which is telling you, please stop typing ani. Please, this is aleph that is going to tell you that they too flow. Okay, because noon sometimes if a fail is going to be mansoob or majzoom, it can be omitted. So you can just say alif is there, which is telling me that it is they too flow. Okay, so tajriyani, so ainani. There were two. Is there any pronoun in tajriyani which is going back to ainani in here? No. I'm just, there is an alif in there, right? And there is an alif in there which is going back to ainani. There's a pronoun, they too. So you know that it is going back to ainani. So it can be a sifa for ainani. So before this was jannatani. Before, but we are not going to go that far. Let's just stick to whatever we have here. So let me actually show you something in here. No, I will show you that at the end. Okay, I will have I will save my time here. So what are the benefits of mawsufa sifa? So mawsufa sifa, do you think they specify an ism when they come to describe an ism? For example, I saw a man. I saw a tall man. I saw a tall old man. I saw a tall old dignified man. Did it specify the ism? Right? It's not as common now, right? Now you have some information about this ism, right? Now the ism that it is describing is becoming more specific, more specific. By adding sifa, you are making your ism more specific. For example, walil kafirina azaba. For the kafirin is a punishment. If it was just that, it's little, it's a lot common, right? You don't know what type of punishment is there. But when it comes as walil kafirina azabun muhin, muhin means humiliating, humiliating. So when you see it like that, do you think your azab became more specific now? It made azab more specific. Similarly, wala amatu mu'minatun khayrum min mushrika. As believing slave woman is better than non Muslim or non believer. So in here, amatu mu'minatun, a believing slave woman, this mu'minatun, did it make amatun more specific? Now we are talking about not any slave, it is a specific slave that is being talked about. Similarly, abdu mu'minun, a, a believing slave man is better than a disbeliever. So abdun mu'minun. Mu'minun made abdun more specific, right? It made it more specific. So no, it's not as common as it was if it was just abdun khayrum min mushrik, right? Does it make sense? Or if it was just walil kafirina azab will be a punishment, now one would wonder what kind of a azab is there, right? But when Allah says azabun alim, azabun azim, you know that it is a big punishment, a painful punishment, or a humiliating punishment. It makes a nakira specific, right? In case it clarifies things. For example, and fattakun nara. Fattakun nara. If it is describing, as if I is describing a proper ism, it is going to clarify it further. Fattakun nara. Then you fear the fire. Allati waquduhan nasu wal hijara. The one whose fuel are people and the stones. You notice? It made allati and whatever came after it, gave you more clarification. It gave you more clarification. How many of you agree to that, that you found more clarity if you were just told by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fattakun nara? So it could be that Allah is asking you to be watchful of the fire that you see on your stove. But does Allah talk about the fire on the stove? No, not at all. Allah is talking about the fire that whose fuel is going to be people and stones, right? So there was a question yesterday, how do I know that where is my sila ending? So allati is a mawsul, al hijaratu is the end of the sila. Uiddat, uiddat lil kafirin is starting a new sentence. I hope you are all able to see that your sila just ends at al hijara. Uiddat is going to start a new sentence which can be a hal for an-nar, that this fire, it is prepared for the kafirin. The condition of the fire is that it is in a state where it is prepared for the kafirin. So it can be the hal of the fire from which we are want to be afraid of. Okay, the next is, it is to praise someone, it is to add more praise for someone or something. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says ya yuhal insanu ma gharraka bi rabbikal kareem, so al kareem, when we described our Rabb by using al kareem, did it are we praising our Lord by using word al kareem? Are we doing his mad? Are we doing his sana? Are we doing his hamd? Right? All these, right? So it is used to praise someone. Then the purpose can be to do the tahqir or to belittle someone, to insult someone. For example, inni uizuha bika wa zurriyatiha minash shaitanir rajim. Ar-rajim, the one who is expelled from the mercy of Allah. Is it to insult a shaitan when we call, and it befits what he did, right? He disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, fastakbara, and he became arrogant. So it befits that, we describe him as a rajim, the one who has been expelled from the mercy of Allah, right? So in here, you notice that it is for azam wa tahkir. The next reason is, it can be used to add emphasis. This one, how many of you know that sifa can bring in emphasis? How many of you know that sifa can be used to emphasize something? So see here, min kulli zawjaini isnaini. Isnaini. See here, how, but you're just writing what I have on my slide, but how do you know that it is, how are we emphasizing something? So in here, look here, zawjaini means two pairs. Isnaini means also two. So are they two making mawsoof or sifa? Are they making mawsoof sifa? Are they matching in all four properties, both jar because of kullin, how is it, both jar, both common, both dual, both masculine, right? They're all they're matching in all four properties. Okay. Zawjaini isnaini alihaini isnaini, are they matching in all four properties? Right? Right? Matching in all four properties. So, and zawjaini, if this isnain was not there, does it make any change to the meaning? Does it change the meaning by not even having isnain? You will still translate it as two pairs, two gods, right? But why is isnain added? Why is something added when you can you can do without it? To bring in more emphasis. Two is being emphasized. Two is added to add more emphasis. Okay. Then there is nafkhatun wahidatun. Nafkhatun wahidatun. In here, can you notice here? This word nafkhatun is a word which is indicating it is already means once. It is a type of a word which indicates one times. This is masdar marra. It means one time. That nafkha, one blow. It already means one blow. But wahidatun is added to add more emphasis. When asifa is used to do more emphasis, it is called sifa muakkida, that it is adding more emphasis. And some of you in dream group have brought this question once, that why is this word used, muakkida, why is there word used after sifa muakkida? So what is muakkida means? From tawqid, it means a sifa that adds more emphasis. A sifa that adds more emphasis. And how are we adding an emphasis? By just repeating. By just repeating. Right? So, wahidatun is already there in nafkhatun, but wahidatun, when we added that, it is just one blow. It means that, it is this sifa is adding way more emphasis. It is going to be just one blow, everything will be done. Again, isnaini or alihaini isnaini, the same purpose. The last purpose of sifa can be, it is sometimes to make something general by using it. For example, wala yunfiquna nafaqatan saghiratan wala kabira. What is mawsoof sifa in here? What is mawsoof sifa in here? What do you think is a mawsoof sifa in here? Can be in this sentence, and they do not spend an expenditure, be it large or small. So nafqatan, saghiratan are making a mawsoof wa sifa, right? Nafaqatan is a mawsoof, and sifa is saghira. Saghira is a sifa. Okay, saghira is a sifa for nafaqatan, and then and they don't spend any expenditure, be it small or large. So when you added saghira wala kabira, it is making nafaqatan very general, that they spend nothing at all, meaning to say that. Okay, so now this is the summary of what the purpose of your mawsoof wa sifa can be. If I show you, there is another example from Quran that I want you to see, and if you can tell me real quick, I will get an idea if that you got it. That why is this? What is the purpose of mawsoof wa sifa in here? I'm sorry, I'm just taking 1 second here, and I'm going to show you this one. Okay. Hawlaini kamilaini. Hawlaini means 2 years. Kamilaini means to complete. Are these words making mawsoof wa sifa? Yes. So what is purpose of Kamilaini? Can I call it sifa used the one of the six that you have just seen? Which one is this? It is for to specify, to clarify, to praise, or to belittle or insult, or for emphasis, or for to some make something general. It is for emphasis. I hope this is clear to each and every one of you. Okay. Now we have 4 minutes. Okay. So when you have a complex sifa, the sifa, the first type, al ismul mufrad, you have covered it very many times, right? Al ismul mufrad is easy, right? The last two are important ones that you need to cover. And now you are going to start real quick. In here, in here, when you are going to find a ism that is being described by a sentence, what do you have to look for? Ism must be what in property? Does it have to have certain status, certain gender, certain number, or what? It has to be common. It has to be common, and it has to be followed by a sentence which is describing it, and the sentence must have a pronoun which goes back to an ism. In here, qawmi yuqinun, qawmin yuqinun, li qawmin yuqinun, qawmin, is it common? Number one, it is common. Yuqinuna, they believe. Can it be the sifa for qawm? Can it be? Right? And what is going back to qawm? Is there anything in the wow is going back to qawm? The wow in fail yuqinuna is going back to qawm. That this wow tells you translate me as they are convinced, the nation that believes. So how will I translate this? A nation that believes. In here, ulaika jazaohum maghfiratun, commonism, min rabbihim, forgiveness from their Rabb. Can it be treated as mausuf sifa? Can this commonism followed by jar wal majroor be treated as mausuf sifa? Very good job. Jannatun tajri min tahtiha al-anharu. Jannat, commonism. Should I take a pause here and find a sifa for it? Right? Is there a sifa for it? Heavens or gardens underneath which the rivers flow. So tajri, they flow. Al anharu is the outside doer. So the rivers flow. Min tahtiha. What is a pronoun in here which is going back to Jannat? The ha in tahtiha is going back to Jannat. The next one in here, um, Yawman, Yawman, right? In here, Yawman, Yaj'alul Wildana Shayba, a day that will make old, a young old, that will make young old. So, Al Muzammil, ayah 17, there's a sentence which is describing word Yawma, Yawman. What is a pronoun which is going back to Yawman in here? Is there a pronoun? Jumla failure is a sifa. Very good job. There is a huwa yaj'alu. This huwa in yaj'alu, the hidden pronoun in yaj'alu is going back to yawman, and that is why we can say that yaj'alu is a sifa. This example you already did with me. Illa rajulun, rajulun, in huwa illa rajulun niftara ala Allahi kaziba. So we will focus up until here. So can anyone figure out Mawsuf for me in Suratul Mu'minun, ayah number 38? Who is a Mawsuf in here? Can there be a Mawsuf sifa here? What is a Mawsuf in sentence Rajul? Very good job, Abdul Manan. Very good job. Iftara, it is huwa iftara, right? Huwa is going back to Rajul, so we can call iftara alallahi kaziba as a sifa for Rajul. In here, what will be the status of this sentence which is following your Mawsuf Rajul? Give me the status. It is rough in status. Yawman yaj'alul wildana shayba. A day that will make a child old. This sentence is nasb in status. In here, Jannatun tajri min tahtiha al-anharu is going to be rough because Jannat was rough in status. In case of Qawmi yuqinun, it is going to be what in status? It's jar in status because the status of my common ism was jar. And there is one more example before I call it a day. Okay, this one. Masalu nurihi kamishkat fiha misbah. Example of his light is like a mishkat in which there is a lamp. So in here, do you find an ism which is being described by um, a sentence? A sentence. What is the mosuf? Mishkat, very good job, is your mosuf. Mishkat is a mosuf. Fiha misbahun. Fiha, in it, is a lamp. Do you have a commonism? Yes, mishkatin is a commonism followed by a sentence. Jumla ismiya fiha fiha jar wal majroor muta'alliq bil khabar. Misbahun is mubtada, and ha in here is going back to mishkatin. So this is fitting the bill for a sifa, and in here the status of this sifa is going to be, this jumla ismiya is going to be what in status? What is the status of this jumla ismiya? It is going to be jar in status because mishkatin is jar in status. So with that, I will end the session here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta. Nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.